Hi there, welcome back to Excel Module 2, Part 2. We will be starting on page EX222 in your book. So I do want to quickly talk about how to verify a formula using the rangefinder, and I've been demoing this a little bit as we go along. But if you double click on a formula, it will open up and highlight the cells that are involved in the formula. So that is rangefinder. Now let's talk about formatting your worksheet. So first of all, we will change our worksheet theme. So that's under page layout, theme, and we want the gallery theme. Remember, themes control the colors, the fonts, and all that good stuff in your spreadsheet. Let's look at formatting worksheet titles. We'll first merge and center our title. So if we click, hold down our mouse button and drag from A1 to K1, then go to our Home tab and find our Merge and Center button in the Alignment group. We can do that. Let's do the same thing for A2 through K2, Home tab, Alignment group, Merge and Center. Now we'll select both of those cells, which are now A1 and A2. We'll look at our cell styles, and we want the title cell style. Then I'll come down and select just A2, and let me use my decrease font size button, and I will click it until it says 16. Now I'll go back and select A1 and A2, so that I can change the background color of these. That's on the Home tab in the font area. The paint bucket, we would like this to be indigo, accent 5, lighter 80%. There we go. And then I'm going to put a border around these cells. So on the Home tab in the font area, here's our borders. This should look familiar. We want outside borders, and there we go. Now let's apply cell style to column headings and format the total rows. So A3 through K3, we want heading 3 cell style for this, and we want to center the text inside the cells. Then we'll come down to A13 through K13 and apply the total cell style. A14 through A16, let's bold that text. Now let's look at formatting dates and centering data in cells. So first of all, I want to select K4 through K12. And then on the Home tab in the number area, we talked last time about some of these buttons down here. But if I click this button right here where it says number format, it opens up a dialog box that lets me do all sorts of things with my numbers. So in this case, we want date, and we want it to be the one with the 2 numbers for the year, and say OK. And that should format my date. Then let's select C4 through C16. And let's go ahead and center the numbers in those cells. Okay, so now let's take a look at selecting cells that are non-adjacent. So we talked a little bit about this last time. So first of all, I select the cells, the first range of cells, which is E4 through H4. And I hold down my control key, select J4, then F13 through H13, and then J13. I release the control key, and now click on the Home tab, the accounting number format. And it will format those cells. Do not worry that we see $ signs right here. That just means that the info won't fit in the cells. We will fix that in a bit. Let's select E5 through H12, and then J5 through J12, and apply the comma style format. Home tab, number area, the comma. D4 through D16, comma style, so home tab, comma style. E14 through H14, E14 through H16, J14 through J16. So I did that while holding the control key. And then I'm going to come up to my home tab in my number area, and I need to really specify how numbers are going to be formatted here. So I click my number dialog box, and I want currency, 2 decimal places. I want the symbol to be a $sign, and I want negatives to be in parentheses in black. So I'll click OK on that. Let's select E4 through let's select I4 through I15 and format that with the % style, home tab number area. And then I want to go ahead and use, in the number area, there's an increase and decrease decimals. I want to click my increase twice so that it increases to 2 decimal places. Now let's talk about conditional formatting. So this is formatting that you apply to a series of cells, and something will happen depending upon what is in the cell. So let's select the range D4 through D12. And if you look at the Home tab in the Styles group, you'll see the Conditional Formatting button. So I'm going to click on it, and I want to add a new rule. Now, as I go through this, and I read my directions, I can find the right things to click on by carefully reading directions. It says format only cells that contain. So here we go, format only cells that contain a cell value greater than 70. So I will type in 70 here. So it's going to format only cells that are greater than 70, and we want them to look a certain way. So we are going to click on the Format button, and we want it to be white. So that's for the font, and then for the fill, we want the purple color here. And then click OK, and click OK. And you'll notice then it automatically makes the background color of those cells purple with white text if they are over 70. If you notice, my columns are a little close together. I need some more room in my columns so that I can fit everything in them. I'm going to highlight A through C, column A through C. So I come up to the A, get my down facing arrow, hold my mouse button down, and drag through C. Now if I double click on the boundary between C and D, it will automatically size all 3 of those columns to fit the text inside of them. So now I'll come to H, and if I need to resize them to an exact setting, I can use the number that pops up with them as I'm clicking and dragging. Sometimes that can be a little tedious too, though. So if you right-click, you can go to comma width and type in exactly the width of the column that you want. Now let's select D, hold down our control key, select E, and select I. Now, if I right-click on these, I can format the cell. If I right-click on these, I can format the column width to be 10.50. Let's now select column F, hold down the control key, also select K, and for this case I want my column width to be 11.13. Last, I want to change the row height. So I'm going to point to the boundary below row 3. So I'm looking over here in the numbers and drag this down until it is 39.0. You can also right click on it and say row height and get it exactly like you want it. And then heading 14, row height needs to be 24. Just a couple more things. To check spelling on a worksheet, you'll want to click in the very top first box, A1, and go to your Review tab, and there's a spelling option. Make sure that you run spell check on your test when it tells you to, because otherwise you will miss a few points that you don't need to miss. We aren't going to print our worksheet, but I do want to show you a couple of things about the print layout tab, because on this tab is where you can change margins if you need to, or change how your document prints. You can also delineate a print area if you need to, and that's important because sometimes depending upon the size of your spreadsheet, you may have to change some of these settings. Oops. One other thing, the scale to fit is kind of handy too. If you want to make sure everything fits on one page, you can use that as well. Down here at the bottom, there's different views for our spreadsheet. There is the view where you can add a header for your spreadsheet if you need to. There's a page break view so you can see how your spreadsheet is going to print, and then the normal view, back to the normal view. We did talk about this at some point. I can't remember if it was at the beginning of this chapter or the last chapter, but in order to see the formulas in your spreadsheet, you hold down the control key and press the accent key, and that gives you the formulas in your spreadsheet, control accent. Very, very handy. The accent key is beside the 1 key above the tab key, so control accent. And that is it for Excel Module 2. I'll see you in class.